Thank you for joining us for our fourth episode of the 2025 Pick North Football Show. We'd like to kick off this week's show after Rivalry Week. First off, Cardo's Pizza and Tavern for hosting us here every single week at 7897 Refugee Road in the Cardo Shopping Center right across the street from North. Cardo's perfect place to take your family pre-game, post-game for any North event, or even on a weekend pizza trip with your family. Also, American Legion Post 283 across the street from North, strong supporters of the Panthers. And then also Peterson Home Building, LLC, your trusted partner for roof repair and restoration solutions in Central Ohio. Peterson is committed to delivering top-quality craftsmanship and exceptional customer service to safeguard your most valuable asset, your home. So we'll go ahead and get into week 4 of the season and recap rivalry for the Panthers. So the Panthers hosted in their season opener the rival Pickerington Central. Tigers of Pickerington Central entered last Friday's matchup as the number 30 team in Division I in the state of Ohio and featured an offense averaging 45 points a game. Panthers, however, were not deterred, led by a first quarter 45-yard touchdown run by Andyriq Thomas and a absolutely legendary goal line stand at the 1-yard line right before halftime. Panthers took a 7-3 lead at the half. The second half would also prove to be just as memorable as the Panthers are able to stymie the explosive Pickerington Central offense, shutting them out in the second half. The Panthers took a 10-3 lead midway through the fourth quarter on a 32-yard Brandon Fowler field goal. The defense saved its best act for last, allowing the Tigers first and goal inside the North 10-yard line in the final 3 minutes. Dante and Dimitri Curtis were able to get stops on 3rd and 4th down, giving North the final stop. The Tigers, in the final possession, still had 3 timeouts, Panthers starting at their own 10-yard line. And on 3rd and 4, the Tigers utilizing their final timeouts, the Panthers needed to get a first down. With about 1:20 left in the game, junior running back Andrew Curtis broke off the right side of the line for an 86-yard touchdown run to give the Panthers their final score and a 17-7 lead. If you don't remember last year, the Panthers, Preston Bowman, Michael Taylor, they had their moments 85 yards through the heart of Central. Our guest tonight, Andyriq Thomas, had his moment, 86 yards, did a little 1 yard better, had his moment against Central to close out the game last week. So some top performers from the game last week. Obviously, Andyriq Thomas, 26 carries for 224 yards, 2 touchdown runs of 86 and 45 yards. Sophomore Demetrius Curtis, 10 tackles, 2 massive tackles for loss in critical junctures of the ball game. And then senior leader Dante Curtis, 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and also made some huge impact plays. As commentator Marty Bannister put it, this defense is really starting to become the law firm of Curtis and Curtis. Senior Malachi Urban, big game, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss and a sack. And then sophomore Marquise Ray, maybe who wasn't really talked about a lot in this game, 30 massive pass breakups against Central's number 1 receiver Jaden Nelson in critical moments of the game. And then really the call out, the so-called soft offensive line of Pickerington North. I think they made some believers out of skeptics this week, running the ball 36 times for 275 yards. Also, complete team game, the defense as a whole, with a masterful game, only allowing 176 yards of offense, most of it in the last drive, and also holding the Tigers to 2 for 13 on 3rd down and making 2 absolutely massive first and goal stops to really help the Panthers win on Friday night against the number 3 ranked Tigers. So tonight we're joined by our star running back, Andyriq Thomas, who really wrote his own story in this lore, really, in this rivalry series. Andyriq, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So, Andyriq, huge game on Friday night. You had 26 carries, 224 yards. You had those 2 massive touchdown runs. I feel like I was watching Zeke just run free back in the old Ohio State days, 45 and 86 yards. Talk about your performance Friday night.
It was just high emotions, high energy, and I just felt free, and I had high energy, and I just needed to run.
Yeah. So, how do before a game like that, as a ball player, how do you get yourself focused, before a big game like that?
I always just try and focus out, clear my mind out, listen to music a little bit, and just focus on what I need to do.
So like pregame song, like what is like your go-to? Like, like you gotta like get yourself going. Like, what's that song? What's that go-to?
Sometimes I just listen to the Halloween theme song.
Okay.
Michael Myers, I like a little bit of that. Yeah.
So obviously last year, Preston Bowman, Michael Taylor, they had their two really big moments against Pick Central, the 85 yards through the heart of Central. You did it one better this year. You went 86 yards in the final carry. Talk about that.
It was just a regular wide play just to get a first down, and once I saw a little bit of a hole, I just had to burst through it. It was just instinct.
Well, I don't think Refugee Road's ever been that loud before. So, we talk about the old adage in this series, big players make big games. You're going to play big in this game. What is the importance of that? Obviously, your major players got to step up. We saw it with Preston. We saw it with Michael last year. How important is it to step up in a game of this magnitude?
At this point, especially against a rival, it's always important to step up and just give it your all. And that's what I had to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we talked about this before the show, and I want to know, like, are you okay today? So, you had 26 carries, which is massive in the high school game. And the biggest takeaway we talked about before the game, you got stronger and stronger throughout the game. So, you get about 18, 19 carries. I'm like, who's number two here? And basically, your coaches trusted you. You ran the ball 26 times. How you feeling today?
I feel great. I do a lot of recovery.
Okay.
So I just do a lot of recovery so I can get my body right as the weekend comes on. So I'll be fine by 2 days after. So
but you talk about running stronger throughout the game. What do you attribute that to?
I contribute that to my line, my coaches, my father, for getting me in a sense of being more mature into running the ball, keeping the ball tight, especially my coach, Coach Bell.
So, we talked about this before the show, too. So, if you watch the CW telecast at home, after Andriq for that 86-yard touchdown run, you can see the student section, you see Andriq's dad just losing his mind, rightfully so. I would as a parent, too. Talk about how cool that was for you and your family. You sit there and watch the replays. How cool of a moment is that for you?
It was very cool. So, my father, he's a great guy. He came down just to see it, and he just raised me to be a very mature man, very strong and clear-minded guy, and that's what he.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing I've noticed this season too with you, and even watching you as a sophomore too, your ability to carry the pile and get those hidden yardage. How important is that for the offense as a whole? Maybe sometimes those 2nd and 8s turn into 2nd and 5s. It helps the offense move the chains. Talk about that a little bit.
It's just about keeping your feet running. It's just running back instinct. If you need to get the yardage and help the team win or get the first down, that's all you need to do. Yeah,
and then talk about, like your ball carrier vision. Like I always thought you had very good vision as a ball carrier, but you took it to another level the other night. Talk about the cutbacks a little bit.
The cutbacks, they were just there. My line did a great job into like keeping the hole steady and staying on their blockers and just letting me get a hole. That'll be free.
Yeah, so obviously in the first quarter, offense is moving a little bit. Definitely I think the offense had its best rhythm of the year in those early drives. I thought offense coordinator Jordan Pruitt really called a good game.
Yeah.
That first run, 45 yards in the first quarter to go up 7-0. How much momentum did that give the team and then give that offense confidence to keep rolling in the second half?
That gave the team a whole lot of momentum, especially with the run being the run in the hole being so tight and me getting breaking free and then be cut back in the middle, and it's just tails from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about the final play of the game offensively. It's 3rd and 4. You're at your own 14. Jared walks up to the line. You make a slight audible. You move right to left, and then you get the call. The ball game's in Andriq's hands. What went through your mind, like in that moment, like, okay, it's 4 yards. Either, they got another timeout, good chance we don't get that. They're going to, take shots. Maybe that game goes a different way. What went through your head in that moment?
I'm just thinking I need a first down just to clear the game so we can take a kneel. But as I'm running, I see a little small hole. I break it through. In my head, I'm really thinking, should I slide or should I just break it free? And that's what I just did.
Yeah, that's such a debate too. You sit there like, okay, I got the end zone right here. Do I go down or do I score? I mean, but at the same time too, like, how do you not take that as a ball carrier, right? Like, you got an 86-yard touchdown. It's such a debate, right? Like, did that actually cross your mind on that last run when you're housing it?
It really did. I wanted to slide, but I just know I had to get a breakout game so I can get my name out there. So I just broke it free.
So, that's just pure adrenaline at that point. Like, I don't even think if you wanted to stop, I don't think you could have. Like, the goal line's right there.
Yeah.
So how much did it mean to you that your coaches put the trust in you, 26 carries, the final offensive play to win the game? How much does that mean to you that your coaches really put that trust in you?
It really meant a lot, just to get my confidence up during the season, throughout the season, so I can keep going on forward and have a great season, especially with us running and giving the linemen chances to block and get better during the season. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you sent a lot of people home happy on Friday night, and you really sent a lot of people maybe on that side of town really angry last week.
Yeah.
You talked about, like, do I slide, do I not? What else went through your mind on that last run?
I was just thinking, like, is this do or die? So if I break free, it's due. So and if I don't get this first down, it's gonna be.
Was it like a surreal feeling, though?
Yes, it was. I was so happy.
I mean, that's every Pickerington kid's dream,
Of course,
so you're living it out. So, how much can a game like last Friday? Obviously week 1, week 2, there's some naysayers, about the offense. How much confidence can that give the offense moving into week 4, conference play, in the playoffs?
Yeah, of course. So that gives us a ton of confidence. So with us running the ball, especially passing the ball, which is a crucial impact in our offense, and running the ball, as you saw Friday, it gives us a whole ton of confidence, making the line block strong, hard, and making our wide receivers cut their routes quick, and making me run better.
So obviously, there's a lot of things, I think positives that came from last Friday. So, tell me about the post-game celebration. So, you're everywhere, right? So, obviously, the program gets a couple of trophies. You get an MVP trophy. Talk about, celebrating your friends, your teammates, coaches. Talk about how that went.
After the game, celebrated with my coaches a little bit in the locker room and a couple of teammates. But when I got home, I took an ice bath and went to bed. It's simple as that.
So talk about maturity. I don't think most of us would have done that.
Yeah.
So the MVP trophy, where'd you put it at in your room?
It's on top of my dresser right now as I speak.
So, I mean, that's got to be extra motivation. Like, what you're capable of now.
Yeah.
That's got to be extra motivation every single day when you get up.
Yes, sir.
So, talk about the performance of your offensive line. And, obviously around the community this, last week, they were labeled as soft. They were, a lot of naysayers out there. Talk about, how the offensive line stepped up and, kind of making that burst.
Yeah, with the offensive line and having it coming in new addition after all those seniors had a great impact on last season, and the new young guys coming into this season, it made a great impact on what the offensive line did last year into this year, and they had a great impact on Friday, and hopefully more so over the season.
So, I mean, I think Coach Perry put, that Facebook still. Yeah. I mean, there's some of those holes you could have driven, 53-foot trailer through.
Yeah.
So, when I speak to Coach Perry, I've worked with him for about a decade now. Mm-hmm. He talks about trust in the process. Obviously, week 1, week 2, maybe didn't go the way we wanted it to. How important was it for the offense, the offensive line, and the running back room to trust the process and keep moving forward?
Well, that's just having adversity is always going to hit during a game. And just trusting the process will always find us a way to actually do something big in our offense. And the process will just get us to the next step.
Absolutely. So, when I met with Coach Hillridge before the season, one of the biggest things he told me, and I've watched you run the last few years, you've had some really good moments.
Thank you.
You could have started anywhere in Central Ohio. You could have been one of those kids, transferred out. I want mine now.
Yeah.
You had to wait behind Michael, Dorian Hamilton, Sam Williams-Dixon, who's at Ohio State now. Yeah. Talk about that process and being patient and waiting your turn.
With those guys being ahead of me, I always looked up to them because they were great guys to learn from, especially with ball carrier vision. Mike helped me with that. Running, driving through, and especially being a small back, Dorian Doran's a great guy to help with that, especially training this summer. Sam helped me with that, getting my feet together, and I just thank them for that. And knowing my time will come also helped me get the great patience that I need.
And that running back room traditionally at North, man, that's a brotherhood. I mean, you go all the way back to 2008. There's a lineage of, Godwin Igibuke. There's all these backs, and now you're kind of that next step in the lineage of North running backs.
Yes, sir.
So, what did you talked about working with those guys. What did you gain from that as a person? Obviously as a young person, sometimes it's tough to be told to wait. What did you gain from that as a person?
I gained a lot of maturity and most of all patience. Always being patient to the game, especially Coach Bell helping me with that. And Coach Bell, Mike, Sam, and Dorian always help me be patient during the game. Always never be too fast because you'll get tackled for loss or you'll get into two over your head. So they just told me about patience was the key.
So, obviously your patience was rewarded. What has been the biggest difference this year from maybe being like the number 2, number 3 back to like being the number 1 guy? Now you got defenses, game planning for you. What has been the biggest difference you've seen through 3 games so far this year?
The difference is me getting the ball more, of course, and just me trying to learn more in the game. Trying to rush more, keep my feet chopping, which I didn't do much years before, but now I'm learning more, which helps me get smarter during the season.
So, describe yourself as a ball carrier. How are you different from maybe like a Michael Taylor or Sam Williams? Andyriq Thomas's run style. What would you describe yourself as?
I'm a short, quick back, and I can run routes a little bit, which I think I was probably the best route runner out of the running back room, so I just get myself.
Well, I'm waiting for you to flash his hands maybe on a screen or something and go crib another one.
Of course.
So, we talked about this before the show, and watching tape from Friday night, Andyriq is just an absolute monster in the pass blocking game.
Yeah.
I mean, there was backside safeties, linebackers. He's 5'8", he's my size, not the biggest dude. He's just blowing up 6'1" linebackers, blitzing safeties. Talk about run blocking and, see times when, like, Jaron rolled out and maybe his life's in danger in real time and Andyriq's going to bail him out.
So, basically, number 1 priority during pass pro, always keep your quarterback protected, whether or not you need to block or not. If you see anybody, always keep your quarterback protected. Jerry's a great guy, especially with my linemen coming around, trying to block. It's always just a blessing to keep my quarterback protected, if not.
So how much of a weapon can that be for the offense this season? Obviously Jaron's an athlete. He's going to BG.
Yeah.
We've seen him break off some runs. He had some really pivotal runs to get first downs last week too. How much of a weapon can that be for the run game between you two linebackers? Maybe the read option, pulling in and out. How much of a weapon can that be?
It can be a great weapon. We try and get some of those plays in during the games and seasons. So Jaron's a great guy to run the plays with. So.
Yeah, he's absolutely a heck of an athlete. So, we talked about, some of the development you've had. What has been, the one area as a running back you've had to work out the most? Like, what is the one thing you're most prideful on and the thing that you've put that work into?
So, throughout the season last year, I got injured. So, I've been trying to work on my ankle mobility and my speed and trying to get my cutbacks in like I did Friday.
Well, I mean, I think you outran about 15 defenders on Friday night in those 2 long runs. So obviously, you obviously, college football, who's your team?
I'm a Texas fan.
Texas. So are you like a Jaden Blue guy? Like, so like college backs, who do you like?
I like Quintavious Westner. I like Jahmyr Gibbs when he was at Alabama. DeAndre Swift, and I like Jeremiah Love.
So how did you become a Texas fan?
I just became a Texas fan a couple years ago.
Okay.
Just liking their program, especially Coach K.
Sarkisian.
Yeah, Coach S.
Yeah.
He's a great coach,
Yeah,
and I just like how they run their offense, especially incorporating the running backs in the pass game.
I mean, it looks like a modern-day Madden with all the motions and everything else. So obviously, you have 64 carries for 328 on the season, 2 touchdowns. What are your personal goals for the season?
My personal goal, I want to get first team OCC. I want to rush for 1,000 yards or more. Be more mature in the game, and just stay healthy. That's all I need.
So, obviously, Jeff Bowman, one of my friends, I was talking to him post-game. He said he talked to you a little bit before the game, be patient, it's coming. How, the kind words from the parents and fans, how much has that helped you?
It helps a lot because sometimes if I get over my head, I just get into a moment of isolation. And just hearing that just made me feel calm and steady during the game. So
he was a heck of a back of himself at Miami, Ohio back in the 90s. So maybe a good person to take advice from. So what, the offense itself, the team, what do you think you're capable of for the rest of the 2025 season?
I am capable of rushing 4,000. My line helping me with that. Getting first team all OCC, I'm hoping at least. Probably second or first team all state, so that's what I'm hoping. And winning states is our priority. One of our team goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the opportunity is going to be there. So you obviously have 2 more years left at North. Talk about college football. Do you have the desire? To play college football?
Sir.
Have you been talking to any schools?
Yeah, I've been talking to Toledo, Cincinnati, Rutgers, Kent State, and a little bit of Coastal Carolina.
Okay, so some really good P4 schools there. Now talk about academics, majors.
Academics is my number one for sure, especially getting throughout the season. If you want schools to look at you, you need to have a high GPA. And getting through this school process has been pretty good.
So, any majors you have interest at in college?
I've been looking more into sports medicine and psychology. Those have a great interest on me.
No, that's awesome. Well, Andrew, you've been beyond gracious to come out here tonight. Obviously, Andyriq had the game of his life. We're going to see more of that this season.
Yes, sir.
You have the second highest run. Rushing yards in a game behind Michael last year. So I expect you personally to break that.
Of course.
And then obviously you can just see how great a mature kid that Andyriq is. So continued success this year. Continue to make us proud.
Of course. I got you. Thank you.
For the night's second segment with running backs coach Quincy Bell. Quincy, thank you for taking time to join us tonight.
Absolutely.
You have to be absolutely elated with the performance of the offense, the offensive line, and the running backs from Friday night's performance against Pitt Central.
Elated is an understatement. From the first 2 weeks to now, it's a 180. It's a 180. So yeah, elated is an understatement.
So, obviously, run game puts the game away last week. Andyriq gets the 86-yard touchdown run to put the Tigers away. Now, I've worked with, Coach offense coordinator Jordan Pruitt for the last 10 years, and I'll tell the folks at home, up in the box, I don't think I've ever seen that man more happy and animated before in my life. What was it like for you on the field?
Oh, my God. I realized that I am out of shape. I kid you not, I was on a 25-yard line on the opposite side, and I sprinted all the way down to the 9-yard line on the other side. Like, I'm surprised I didn't get a flag. I was flipping out. I was so, oh my God. Everybody who came for a high five, their hand was probably broken. A couple coaches came up to me, like, I think my hand is broken. Like,
Any chest bumps? Like, or are we past that point?
We're past that point. Yeah, we're going high fives and slapping hands.
So we're going straight to like the water after that. Regaining some.
Yeah, I usually have feedback to give whenever a running back breaks something off or scores a touchdown. I had no words. I had to catch my breath. I'm like, you got to give me 5 minutes. I was pumped.
So, I talked with Andyriq, in the first segment.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had some great backs there. Michael Taylor, Dorian Hamilton, Sam Williams Dixon at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Andyriq kind of had to wait his turn, kind of develop as a back. How happy were you to finally see him have that moment in a game like this?
I was very happy. Waiting your turn is not easy to do. Not a lot of people can do it. But I mean, at Pick North, you have to earn a spot. Like, it's not just given to you, unfortunately. So to see him finally get his turn, it was a beautiful thing. So
and it's something else to like make something out of it, right? It's
absolutely.
Just, sometimes I feel like some programs, like you're the senior, you get the first reps, and then obviously in his case the junior, and then other times like maybe you're not producing, maybe a younger guy's going to come up by game 3. So there's something to be said about actually going out and doing it too.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like I put a little bit of pressure on him for that because he knows there is someone coming up through the ranks. So it's, hey, this is my opportunity. I've got to make the most of it.
So obviously, you play the Buzzsaw St. Ed's week 1. St. Ignatius, really good linebacking core, defensive line week 2.
Yeah.
Week 3, there was, maybe some naysayers coming into this game about the run game. What do you attribute the performance Friday night to? Did you foresee this coming?
Did I foresee over 200 yards? I did not foresee that. No, I foresaw a breakout game, but I didn't foresee 200 yards. It's a crosstown rival, so you're going to get your best. You're going to give your best. So 200 yards, no, I didn't foresee that, but I definitely foresaw something big happening. And just a little foreshadowing that day, I just happened to look at the charts in the hallways and saw Godwin's name, like a 93-yard touchdown, longest rushing touchdown. I'm like, that's probably going to get broken tonight or the next couple weeks. I'm like, I think we can get that.
So, obviously in this series too, we always talk about big players making big plays. Mm-hmm. How important is that in a game of that magnitude?
Oh, it's very important. Someone has to put the team on their back eventually. So right before the game, I took all the running backs aside and said, hey, this is a game you want to play in. This is a game where you can make a name for yourself. So go be a legend. So, and Andyriq, I feel like grabbed.
Yeah, whatever that speech is, I think everybody at home needs that when they go to work every single day. I need some of that bottled up. So,
oh yeah.
Obviously, you come into last week. Maybe we talked about the first 2 weeks didn't go very, as well as we hoped. How did you keep the running backs room focused on the process, and how important is that?
The first 2 weeks, I'm kind of attributing that to growing pains there. I mean, it's Andri's first varsity start in week 1 versus St. Ed's, and that's a bear to have.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then St. Ignatius, who just has a storied history. So, even if they're having a down year, it's still a bear to have.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to give you their all because it's what they're about. So, keeping the focus into week 3, there's not very much you have to say when it's your crosstown rival. But it's more so finding a balance. Don't be too hyped, don't be too low. Like, come out and do what you have to do.
Have the guys primed and ready to go at 7:07.
Exactly.
So, absolutely. So, do you feel like last week the offense maybe kind of found an identity moving forward here throughout the season?
I think we're getting close. I think we're getting very close. And I don't think we ever find our identity, or an offense in general finds our identity until week 4, week 5. Offense comes along a lot slower than defenses do. There's a lot of bells and whistles, and you have to learn who you're playing with and playing next to. So I think we're very close.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we know, any smart football person, any running back or offensive player is only as good as their offensive line.
Yeah.
Talk about, obviously like this week we got to give the flowers to the offensive line as well. Talk about their performance last week.
It was great. It was better. I mean, anytime you run for over 270 yards, the offensive line is doing something. They're moving bodies, right? So it was definitely a whole lot better. And I feel like everybody and their moms challenged them to, step up this week. I'm in Monday through Thursday. I'm talking to the offensive line, like challenging them the entire time, kind of making them all mad.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like when you make them mad, they're ready to actually do something.
Maybe not feed them for a day either. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. So, obviously in the community, there was a lot of naysayers, social media, calling the offensive line soft, the weak spot of the football team. How much motivation do you think those guys took from that?
A lot. I mean, who likes to be called soft?
No, I mean, absolutely not.
So,
I mean, as a man, or as that's almost disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, to be frank, I quoted some of those posts to the offensive line, like, "Hey, they're calling you soft. Are you actually soft?" Because the first 2 weeks,
Yeah.
were we performing the way we should have?
Yeah.
So they stood up to the challenge, and they stepped up in week 3 versus Pick Central. So.
And I'll say 7.6 yards per carry. That's not soft. Thank
That's
you,
not
Yappy,
soft.
for the motivation.
Absolutely.
So we talk about how important complementary football is, and one observation I made Friday night was the offense did its thing, the run game did its thing. We had our moments in the pass game. Offensive line absolutely was great. The defense, obviously with those 2 massive first and goal stops. Talk about all 3 phases. I thought we were a better team Friday night,
Oh, yeah.
and playing complementary football.
Yeah, so first and foremost, just watching the game back, we were the more physical team. And I did not foresee that coming in, us being the more physical team. So I'm glad that the guys all did that. But the defense, I mean, they are one of, if not the best in the state. And some of the things that they do, I am surprised that they can do it. I shouldn't be.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've seen it for 2 years now.
But Demetrius Curtis on a goal line stand,
I mean, 3-yard loss.
I've watched it 16 times in a row, and I'm still trying to figure out how he got between the guard and the center for a 3-4 yard loss twice in a row.
Yeah.
The defense is astonishing.
Well, and even that last goal line stand, like Central's coming down the tide of the game. Maybe go for 2 in the win. Who knows?
Maybe.
You see Demetrius, you see Dante just going sideline to sideline. I mean, some of those stops were just absolutely insane to watch on tape.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and then obviously they get the love at home, but obviously like Elijah Durham-Smith, Malachi Irvin, Ryan Miller, a lot of those guys too really take it on some hard assignments and really allowing Dante and Demetrius to go out and make those plays.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're playing out of their minds, and it's only week 3.
Yeah.
And they get better as the season goes.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I'm excited to see what they have coming up.
Yeah, I mean it's next 4 or 5 weeks it'd be really interesting to see how the defense continues to take the next step.
Oh, yeah.
So same likewise with the offense.
Absolutely.
Obviously here in the next few weeks you may try some more. Open up the offense a little bit here and there.
Yeah, open up the office a little bit more, see who we have, depth-wise, and, go from there.
The goal, for this season to me is being ready for November, right? Like this team's capable of making a deep run in November. What can we do in week 4 to keep going down that path?
Absolutely.
So, another observation I made from the game the other night, and I gave Andyriq his flowers for this, the pass blocking. I mean, you have to drill that down. I mean, there's multiple times in some of these games I see Jared roll out, and you think his safety is at risk at that point. And I saw Andyriq at least 3 or 4 times step up in the hole. Central with their safeties, a lot of exotic blitzes last minute. Maybe from the weak or strong side. Your backs are picking up blocks, allowing that passing game to stay alive. Talk about how proud you are of that and how you work on that.
Oh, you know what? I'm not surprised by it. Andyriq's a great blocker. All of our backs are great blockers. What I'm most surprised by is that defensive end block that he had early on.
Yeah.
That he stalemated. I can't remember number 7's name off the top of my head, but he stalemated him.
He's a ball player.
And yeah,
He's a heck of a player.
yeah, heck of a player. But as soon as I saw that, and I think it was the first series,
Yeah.
I was like, Andri's going to have a great game. I think I think I was more hyped for that block than I was at 86 and 46-yard
Yeah.
touchdown. And I'm like, that's a great block. That's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
how physical you actually need to be.
I mean, anybody watching that, I mean, seeing, someone that's 5'8", being willing to, and especially in the games like Central, like, I feel like there's times, it's me against you, right? Two great programs. Who's willing to go to a little bit extra? Who's willing to do something maybe I don't really want to do, but this is what's got to be done?
Yeah. 100%. And I don't think it was his assignment, if I'm being honest with you. But he just stepped up to the challenge and said, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Well, that's just being a ball player in the moment.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the running back room at North. Talk about, fans at home. Like, what does Coach Quincy Bell look for in a running back, and what does it take to play at this level?
Oh, man. Like we just said it. You got to be physical. You got to be physical. If you're not physical, you're not going to, see the field. You're going to get yourself hurt or somebody else hurt. On top of that, you have to be coachable. You have to learn on the fly sometimes in game. So coachable, physical, I can teach everything else, the X's and O's. But, those are the two big things I look for.
And that's one thing you've seen out of the running back room, too, is like how much it developed as football IQ, right? And that's,
Yes.
That's one thing I always see out of the backs. That progressively, since you started coaching them, progressively throughout the season, they've gotten smarter. They see things, especially even in the pass blocking game, be able to pick up those things. Like anybody can be a great back.
Yeah.
Like anybody can, crib one if there's a wide open hole. But it's those intangibles, right?
Absolutely. I could have cribbed one on Friday night. Like those holes were wide open, and I'm slow now. But yeah, I feel like the more you know about the game, the higher your football IQ, the more the game slows down. And so that just kind of speeds you up faster than everybody else. So absolutely.
Now, Quincy, you were no slouch yourself. So the people at home, Quincy, you played at Marietta.
I did.
So as a freshman, returned a blocked field goal for a touchdown. Who was that against?
That was versus Muskegon, which was a rival.
Okay.
Actually.
The Muskies out of Zanesville.
Yeah, it was actually a block punt.
Block punt, okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously you were the special teams ace, you returned kicks at Marietta. So, obviously, what does that experience give you as a playing in college running back at that level to teaching these kids?
I think it gives me an edge because I know what's out there, what's to come, and like what to look for. So.
Well, you also played safety in high school at Groveport Madison. So the folks at home, when Quincy was in high school, maybe Groveport at that time wasn't the greatest program at that point.
We had a playoff run.
That 07, that's where
Yeah.
I'm going to. So that 07 team came in, picked North, Tom Phillips' first year. Like you had Ray Pinnell, Le'Veon Bell, the NFL star. You guys came in and absolutely just worked North that night on the run game. You played defensive back?
I did. I actually played safety, which I think helps me out a whole lot, seeing I understand defenses, so I'm like, hey, if this guy's here, you're probably going to have to do this. So.
Absolutely. So, needless to say, that night, Groveport won that game in convincing fashion, and that was kind of, to me, that defining year of 07 for Groveport. That's kind of when Groveport turned the tide.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a stepping stone for sure. Because I think before that, I think we were having 0-10 seasons and maybe a 1-9 season,
Yeah.
And then that season I think we went 8-4.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I want to see you won a playoff game that year, too.
Yeah, that was the first in school history that we won.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were playing against you, and you guys were physical. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
So, let's talk about, the running back room and, with the fans at home. Talk about, some other, obviously we've talked about Andyriq at length tonight. Who are some other guys you got in the running back room, and, who do you believe, could get in rotation this year?
We're still playing around with a few things. There's a few people that I have high hopes for that can come along. It's just, are they willing to come along? So I won't drop any names until they're ready to, step it up. But we got a few things in the coffers that are ready to go.
So, you talk about, during the game, too. Obviously, Tice Ward got a couple carries last week, did some good things. Obviously got hurt in the game. But, talk about, as, being the running backs coach, finding the right rotation during the game. Obviously, some of it's situational, some of it's formational.
Yeah.
Talk about, your job of running the rotation of running backs and making sure you got the right back out for certain situations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the times it's trying to make sure we're taking some wear and tear off of the back so they can last a little bit longer. Like, it wasn't the plan to give Andyriq 26 carries. Now, don't get me wrong, he got stronger as he progressed, which is to be expected as a running back, but you don't want to do that early on in the season. So really, it's just trying to split up the carries however we see fit. Um, but that game, things just changed.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, especially we got to win, right?
Yeah.
And then, obviously you're riding the hot hand at that point. I mean, if it's
Oh,
not broke, don't fix it.
yeah, it's kind of similar to last year. Like Michael Taylor had a single game record, and that wasn't supposed to be the game plan.
Yeah.
And we're riding a hot hand. So
Yeah.
things can change on the fly.
Absolutely. So, obviously talk about, your job as a running backs coach. You work with offense coordinator Jordan Pruitt, run game coordinator Craig Frederick, offensive line coach Leon Perry and Matt Galvin. Obviously, a lot of places in high school, you don't have all those layers of a run game, right? A run game coordinator, 2 offensive line coaches. Talk about that dynamic of, the 5 of you working together and how that looks on a Friday night communication-wise.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think me being here for 3 years, there's definitely some meshing that is actually happening now. Like my first year, I kind of didn't want to step on any toes or anything like that. But now I feel like I'm able to give feedback to Freddie or to Leon and, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and we just take it and run with it. So where there's some banner that can actually happen, feeding off each other.
And I definitely see, I'm up in the box every Friday night. I think you're, over the last year, so I think, between the 5 of you, you're starting to see that trust build.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So, obviously you're the offensive coordinator for the JV team on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And I've watched you in 7-on-7s, the JV. So this brave man took on the defending Division II Bishop Watterson state championship team of the JV A team in 7-on-7s. Talk about getting to develop the next era of varsity Panthers, and how much you enjoy doing that.
It's very fun. Stressful at times, but I enjoy it. I feel like that's where I'm at my best, is when my back is against the wall and I have to, show up, and the kids get the best out of me. So being able to see them at point A, knowing where they are going to be in point B and, Z, it's a beautiful thing. So a lot of the coaches come to me and say, hey, where's this guy at? What do you think about this guy? And I'm able to give that, honest feedback.
Absolutely. So, obviously at the JV level, you got to be a teacher, right? Obviously you got to hold kids accountable. At the same time, too, the wins, losses are important, but you're there to teach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love to win. I hate to lose. Don't get me wrong. And the kids feel that. But, yeah, I'm there to teach. And, being at the JV level, I know the entire offense. I can kind of coach the offensive line. I can coach the receivers, the quarterbacks, the running backs. And so if the kids have a question, I'm able to answer, hey, this is what you need to do.
So, your coaching career, how nice is it for you to get to, be able to call plays at that level from your own coaching development?
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. I definitely think it helps because I'm able to see what works on down and distances and, what schemes work to certain packages and things of that sort.
So obviously, we'll wrap it up here. So obviously for 2025, what are your expectations for the offense, and how much better do you think you can get throughout the season?
Well, first of all, foremost, I think we can get a whole lot better. We're at 17 points as the most scored so far. So I definitely think we can get a whole lot better. Are my expectations? Growth. Week in and week out, just, building on what we did last week. I always tell the guys, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. You never stay stagnant. So
you're taking away that complacency, especially.
100%.
So, obviously next few weeks, so maybe some really good opportunities to try to start seeing some more of that growth.
100%.
So you go into Dublin Kaufman next week. The biggest thing, I feel, I don't see it out of you guys, but, you hear about it all the time, the hangover, right? So, emotional victory over the crosstown rival. Mm-hmm. How do you stay focused this week? How do you have a good week of practice and come out focused for Kaufman on Friday night?
I told the running backs that everything that we did last week doesn't matter. Great, we ran for 230 in the running back room. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares anymore. We've got to, go out and win the next week and be 1-0. Like we're 0-0.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
No, that's the mindset I think you got to take. So quarterback Andyriq Thomas for joining the show tonight. As always, Cardo's Pizza for hosting us. Keith, the owner over here, always takes care of us, as you can see. So big shout out to Cardo's. So this week the Panthers travel to Dublin Kaufman to take on the Rocks of Dublin Kaufman. Dublin Kaufman, led by first-year head coach, former offensive coordinator Volunteji Berlin, Nick McVay. The Rocks are 1-2 on the season. They got some athletes. So, they've had some tough losses playing Whitmer week 1 at State Power. Had a good win over Miamisburg and really had a tough game last week against crosstown rival Dublin Drome. The game this week's 7 o'clock at Kaufman. Make sure to come up, see the kids. We really need your support. So the Panthers coming in this week at 2-1. Right at precipice of the top 10 in Division 1 in Ohio high school football rankings this week. So if you can make it, we'd love to have you. And as always, and most importantly, remember, go North.